Clark's family has always had like a sort of a culture to be not neutral, but to don't try to chase any trend at any cost. But also the fact that we don't have any logo to the shoes, if you look, and this is why we built the company make these fobs. Because if you take out these, the shoes are completely anonymous. Because for the Clark's family, especially for Lance, which is the man who created the Wallabee and the Desert Trek, the only person who has to know which brand is the wearer. So there was this kind of like low-key, not trying to be cool, sort of religion. And this is something that is still very visible today. I grew up in a beautiful area in the north of Italy, which is not far from Milan. It's called Garda Lake. It's a big lake over there. So the 90s were very exciting at the time. There was a lot of subcultures coming up, especially music, I will say. And this is probably the way that I got into fashion, into clothes. Say electronic music was really a big thing. All my friends were hanging out. On the weekend, the only things to do were basically going to these massive clubs. And there were different rooms. And one room were playing techno, the other was playing, I don't know, hardcore from Netherlands, hardcore gabber. It was coming from the Netherlands. And it was a proper dress code, which I love dress codes. And this was a proper strong dress code. And it was literally a movement. There's so many people joining this. And we were traveling across the whole Europe to go to these events or raves. So I got to see a lot of different clothes and individual dress code, which I got really fascinated into. And when you went to these big clubs, you can really tell people also which city they were coming from. So in Milan, for example, there were these people wearing like industrial, they were listening probably a bit more industrial sound, speedcore, and they were like gothic sportswear. So they were like really all black, mostly like mixing up like a bit like The Cure with like industrial speedcore music. So it was a very unique way of, and I was very fascinated by this dress code. I think the curiosity on the dress code is something that brought me in this job. How I innovate Clarks, that's probably the biggest question, isn't it? I mean, the approach when I moved here in Clarks, it wasn't that different. The team, the spirit, it was the same. But the responsibility, it was so much higher here because 200 years of history, I'm a very small part of it. Our collaborators, long-time collaborators, to mention one also Supreme. Supreme was one of the first brands to collaborate with Clarks back in the days. So there is a mutual respect that is proceeding, is going on and on and on. It's not a matter of if a brand is cool or not. For us, it's more about really the relationship. Probably the most important in terms how the Clarks legacy has spread into the world is obviously the Jamaican rude boys culture, because also with the diaspora, they were the very early adopters of the Clark shoes outside of the, let's say, the more footwear market that Clarks were in. They were the first to adopt that shoe in a more cultural way. I think one of the story that cracked me really, it was the story of this time where JFK airport, 70s, probably 71 if I'm not wrong. So basically the police at the airport police, they got this shipment from Ireland of 4,500 Wallabee. And they were thinking about the Wallabee, the little beast, the little marsupial. So there was a gathering of people, like, what's going on? And they start calling Clarks. And they were like thinking, how the fuck is coming so many Wallabee from Ireland to US? And actually they were not obviously the little beast, but they were like the shoes. So there was this letter ending up like, can you call them fucking shoes and not Wallabee? So there was a lot of like noise that day. And I bet Lance, he was riding on the joke, and like I think he kept it quite long without telling them immediately what was the fact. So I think I just want to leave a good footprint, and I just want people, when there will be some shoes in the archive made by my team, probably they will say, okay, Matteo and the team here did a good job keeping the true values alive of these shoes, respecting them, and maybe also showing that innovating is possible, even though maybe it takes more time. We need to have more patience in brand like this. It's not happening overnight in one season, but innovating is possible, and giving inspiration to the other creative directors, designer that will come after me to keep on doing the good job.